The second Mario Galaxy movie trailer just dropped this morning, and Nintendo has an amazing hit on their hands. This movie looks incredible already. Just adding in 2 new characters, Bowser Jr. and Rosalina, is enough to get Nintendo fans going crazy. It's so interesting to me how they're using the wonder effect for Bowser Jr. rather than his normal self like he was in Galaxy 1 and 2 as just like a henchman for Bowser and working side by side, and also not being like the Mario Sunshine version of his paintbrush. It's interesting the theme of paint that we have here so far in this new trailer, with Bowser painting at the very start, painting a skeleton photo of Mario from Mario Odyssey, a costume you could wear in that game. Skeleton Mario was just running around, and I couldn't believe that they put that in a Mario game, much less the Mario movie. Bowser wants him dead. But then we see in Bowser Jr. with his paintbrush from Mario Sunshine, it is the black ink from Bowser's Fury that he transforms into his Bowser Jr. Wonder effect from Mario Wonder. So they're really crossing over movies here, and I'm not too upset about that. I mean, we saw the Toasterina upside down pyramid in this movie, which we saw a glimpse of in the first Mario movie. They showed that off in the first trailer, and then they didn't even go there. It was just one of those things where they were traveling. It was like a travel montage, and they showed the upside down pyramid in one of those. So we don't even know for a fact if this is going to be a place they go to or if they're actually just going to zoom past it. But these movies are getting more and more intricate in how they are developing the characters and the world, because of course they're introducing things from the Mario Galaxy movie, but it's not just Galaxy themed. It has to do with the entire Mario sphere itself. And as we look at this movie and as we look at the success that it is going to bring, I can't help but think what is going to be next for Nintendo and for the Nintendo movie sphere, because there is so much more coming down the pipeline that no one is talking about. At the recent financial report, they showed us this image of several movies coming soon. Of course, we had the Mario movie released back in 2023. In April, we are going to be getting Mario Galaxy. Then in 2027, we have the live action Zelda movie, and then 2 other frames, and then a ... And not only that, we have ourselves Nintendo Pictures, a studio in which Nintendo bought. They turned Dynamo Pictures into Nintendo Pictures a couple years back with the intention of transforming that studio into their own animated hub. Now, what are they going to do with that studio? How does that have to do with anything about the movies? And what is the future of Nintendo Cinema? Well, in the previous investor briefing, we had Miyamoto, the new movie guy at Nintendo, who has recently said he's taking a huge step back from video games. He has been working with the Mario movie and Universal and the Zelda movie, and he has just become the bigger guy in the franchise and in the company. And he said Nintendo Pictures is creating its own videos and conducting research based on the idea of taking on new challenges in the field, rather than being an organization for creating movies like the Super Mario movie. And of course, with Nintendo's Close to You video with the Pikmin and the baby running around, it seems to me that they're only interested in trying to make little prototypes, such as that video, to show us what they are capable of, and also just to be able to learn the basics of animation, to learn the basics of everything, to then create what? To what end, I ask, does Nintendo Pictures intend to research and conduct all of these different studies on the animated field? Well, I think internally they want to have, at the end of the day, their own studios be able to create everything that they want in-house. I think Universal was a means to an end in terms of movies, and moving forward, movies will continue to be produced by other parties and by outside sourcing. I mean, the Zelda movie is being aided by Sony. Sony Pictures is helping with the Zelda movie, and that is something no one could have ever seen coming from Nintendo. But they don't care, and they have never cared about other companies. They only ever see themselves as on top and wanting help from other people who know what they're doing. And of course, who would turn down the opportunity to work on a Zelda movie, whether you're Sony or not? They're working with Nintendo now, and this is just the future that we live in. But I think eventually, like 10, 15 years down the road perhaps, they're going to make everything in-house. And they're working on doing that right now with the animated side of things, because Universal and Illumination are the team that has done the Mario movie and is doing the Mario Galaxy movie, and is probably going to do a future movie that we're going to talk about here in a second. But that studio is really why Miyamoto and why the Nintendo team is working so closely with them. They're looking to see how they're doing this. They want to know exactly how to do it so they can pass it on to their own guys back at Nintendo headquarters and then eventually be able to do all of this themselves. Nintendo does not like outsourcing when they don't have to. Conducting research is not a term I think I would have ever heard Miyamoto use for something as simple as an animated studio. It makes way more sense for them to say, yeah, we've got stuff coming soon. We're working on products, we're working on TV shows, we're working on all sorts of different things for you to enjoy. But they're not saying that. They're telling us that they're conducting research and they're studying. That is such a fascinating way for them to put it, and I believe him wholeheartedly. I think that is why he didn't say what they're doing, because of course they're trying to make products, of course they're trying to make TV shows, of course they're going to expand the brand. But what they're really trying to do is work on expanding their own studios themselves. Now, these people at Nintendo Pictures are probably the same people that carried over from Dynamo Pictures with a few people from Nintendo themselves. Nintendo is working on the games industry, and that is always going to be their primary focus. But they have expanded in the past few years to merchandise, theme parks, movies, now shorts, animated shorts, and potentially TV shows at some point. Ever since the Wii U was a big failure, they have decided internally that they wanted to make sure they had other avenues of support. If not for the 3DS keeping them afloat, they definitely would have gone bankrupt during the Wii U era. They just didn't have enough products out there that were selling enough to keep them afloat. The 3DS is what kept them afloat. And so looking at that, they realized now that we have a handheld hybrid console where you can play on the TV and on the go, and it's the only thing that we're putting all of our resources into, if for whatever reason the Switch 3 or Switch 4 all of a sudden decides to just putter out and fail, they have other avenues to support themselves and to be able to get their footing for their console's next success. So even if the Switch 3 or Switch 4 decides to be the worst failure in the history of gaming, theme parks are going to keep them up. All these movies are going to keep them up. They're going to be around for a long time, whether it be in the gaming industry or in other parts of the industry. Now, of course, they're about making games. None of this happens without the games, and I'm not at all saying that they're turning into some big media company that doesn't just work in games. But what I am saying is they're being very smart. They're playing everything close to their chest, and they're saying, we're expanding. We're just moving our operations into a bigger world. It's fascinating. It's fascinating because I really did predict for this year that we were going to see a show from Nintendo Pictures. I thought, okay, it's been long enough, but what we did see was a short. So I'm kind of not, I'm going to count it because I predicted it and I didn't see anyone else talking about it. I count that as a successful prediction, but this year was a lot less of a product that I thought that they were going to show us from that company and from that studio. Moving forward, I don't know if we're going to see other shorts as soon as we did from this one. I think probably we'll see some next year, maybe something else, but I feel like they're working towards something. It would just be shocking to me if all they were doing is working on these different shorts. It would also be the most Nintendo thing in the world for them to simply not produce a show, for them to just continue doing shorts like this and to continue just having fun, to experiment for stuff down the road. Really what they're doing right now is just making products that are interesting to them and working on the basics, and it looked pretty good, didn't it? Close to You looked great. So I think moving forward, Nintendo Pictures is going to be a studio which they are learning from Universal, they're learning from Illumination, they're learning about everything in the industry, and they're figuring out how to be successful in the TV show, in the shorts market, in the movie market potentially one day. And moving forward, Nintendo Pictures is going to be the internal house studio for all things TV, all things movie. But I think for now, we just have to take a deep breath and say, okay, all they've told us is that they're doing research, and that's, I assume, what they're doing. They're not lying to us on that. But I think it is interesting, and we have talked about that part. But now, what we need to talk about is the movie portion of this that I teased a little bit earlier. This graph, I'm going to show you one more time. This graphic right here is the most fascinating graphic that I've not seen hardly anyone talk about, except for Arlo, which I was making a video on this, and then I was like, oh, I'll wait until the movie trailer comes out so I could talk about that a little bit. Then Topic Arlo made a video on it. Anyways, and no one else has talked about this. The Mario movie and the Mario Galaxy movie are some of the biggest hits that we're going to see from Nintendo. $1 billion the Mario movie made. Mario Galaxy will follow that up nicely with another round billion. We'll see what the Zelda movie does, and I think that is going to really be indicative of what that ... is going to mean moving forward. Because I think those next two movie slots are definitely in the works already, but what the live action Zelda does is going to be dependent upon the future. As far as what that fourth and fifth movie is going to be, I can almost 1000% confidently say that the fourth one is a Donkey Kong spin-off. Donkey Kong will not be in this upcoming Mario Galaxy movie, but he almost assuredly will be in the next one. Now, I could be wrong. Donkey Kong could definitely be in the Galaxy movie, and it sets up for his brand new release, but I'm pretty confident in saying that it's not going to be that. I think they're going to maybe tease him at the end credits of that movie, and then he goes off on his own adventure for his own movie, because the Donkey Kong universe has so much potential for a movie. And of course, with the Mario movie itself and Donkey Kong being a huge character, a big ally of Mario in that movie, moving forward, I think a lot of people would not be surprised to see a Donkey Kong movie and would actually go out to the theaters to see him because they saw him already in the billion-dollar Mario movie. And that fifth slot could very well be a Metroid movie, but I don't think that they're going to do that until they see how this Zelda movie does. The Zelda movie is probably going to stand all on its own and be totally fine, and people are going to enjoy that. But if they don't enjoy it, it's not going to be looking good for the live action side of Nintendo, and moving forward, they're not going to do that. But I think a live action Metroid movie would look really, really good, and if they could pull it off with Zelda, then they'll definitely try to pull it off with Metroid later on down the line, and of course they'd make a Zelda sequel, but at the same time, that is going to be dependent. I don't think they're working on a Metroid project right now, but I do think that they're pushing their chips forward on some other franchises, so what could it possibly be? Well, if they wanted to play it safe, that fifth movie could be a Luigi's Mansion movie, because Luigi is very popular and the Mario movie is a success. Similarly with Donkey Kong there, they could just put a Donkey Kong movie there and then put a Luigi's Mansion movie there, and it would sell incredibly well in terms of box office numbers, in terms of tickets. They have the world at their fingertips here. They could honestly do like a Rosalina spin-off movie. To be honest, any of these characters would work extremely well. And Rosalina being voiced by Brie Larson is just perfection. It is just perfection. I audibly laughed when I saw that because I was so happy. Brie Larson is a massive Nintendo fan. She has been in several Nintendo commercials before this. She is the perfect casting. I am so hyped for Brie Larson as Rosalina, and her Captain Marvel movie was really good in my opinion. People hated on it for no reason. I truly did enjoy that, and it was a huge success right before Endgame, so I digress. The fifth movie here could be so many different things. I'm not willing to put my predictions out there yet, but I think it is definitely something that they have been working on. That ... is certainly going to be something that is dependent upon the live action success or failure of the Zelda movie, and we're just gonna have to see what that looks like. But maybe they're putting all of their chips in on live action right now. We'll just have to wait and see. But the Mario Galaxy movie looks incredible. The Mario movie looks amazing. I cannot wait to see what the Zelda movie looks like. The Donkey Kong movie is almost assuredly coming. We will see what the future of Nintendo cinema looks like eventually. So this video was just to talk about the possibilities of it and the weird things that Miyamoto has said. So thank you so much for making it to the end of this video. Make sure you like and subscribe if you did enjoy. Click that notification bell to know exactly when I upload all of my videos, and make sure you press that hype button to get my channel up to a bigger audience. Please consider joining my membership program, just a couple bucks a month, to support the channel and get early access to all of my videos. Make sure you click on the left side of your screen to see my video covering the Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 games, and click on the right side of your screen to see my video breaking down the Nintendo Switch 2's success and the financial report that they just released a couple weeks ago. Thank you so much for making it to the end of the video. Make sure you have yourself a phenomenal Bowser Jr. loving day. This has been Ray's Nintendo Talk. I have been Ray, and I will see you all in the next video.